Okay, so this is an intro to 3ds Max series. It's going to be all about making your own set of dice. So I have my pure ref board over on another screen. I have the different dice shapes, and I'm also going to go over getting our 3ds Max set up properly in case we've just got the default settings, so that we have as good a time as possible to work through this. All right. So here is 3ds Max for viewports, our Scene Explorer, our Create tab. What I'm going to do is just set up our UI so that it is a little bit more workable if you haven't got a max start file. So first thing that we're going to do is get rid of the Scene Explorer. We can always bring that back by toggling the Scene Explorer there, and we get a bit more screen real estate. It's great to have 4 viewports, but the layout I would prefer to be like that. So we're going to click this and just change it like that. If you really want a little bit more screen, you can get rid of that as well. We can now start pulling this out, so we get 2 columns once we start going into edit poly mode. And we're going to just make sure that we're working in the correct unit scale. So we're going to go to customize units. So customize unit setup, and we're going to work in metric. We could work in millimeters for this project because it's dice, but I'm just going to set it for centimeters for now. And we're also going to click the system unit setup and change that to centimeters as well. Okay, so in 3ds Max 2024, we shouldn't need to do this, but if you're working in an older one, if you go to File, Preferences, and just check that we've got as many undos as we possibly can, that might make your life a little bit better when something goes wrong and you need to undo quite a bit. And we're just going to go over to the Files tab as well, and we're going to change our number of backup files. 10 is quite a lot, so I'm going to tweak that to 5, but I'm also going to change my backups to every 5 minutes. So the worst case scenario, in fact, I'll take that to 6. So we've got backups for about half an hour. I think that's a reasonable amount. And I'm also going to turn on increment on save. So every single time we save our file, it's going to keep the old version. So when we manually save it, this is my preferred sort of setup, and I think that it's gives you your nice orthographic views here, but then we don't always have to press Alt-W and swap between them when we want to see our orthographic views, which can come in handy, especially when you're starting out. To have 3ds Max open like this every single time, you just do File, Save As, and we're going to title this Max Start. Now I'm pretty sure it is case sensitive as well, so if we save that as Max Start, now if I close this down and then we go into our 3ds Max software, so that's in this one, here we go. Now when it opens up, it's going to initially show us the old UI layout, but then it's going to load that Max Start file with the unit setup and everything how we want it. There are additional things which you might want to change down the line and tweak, but we can see now it's really quickly done that. We could have things like statistics by pressing 7 on the keyboard. That could be coming in handy. You might want to go into the home grid and give yourself a few more grids to see on the perspective viewport. You could go to snaps and enable vertexes. You'll most likely want to be snapping vertexes over time. And if you know if there's any sort of modular thing that you can be working on, we can change the scale of this grid. So if we said 1 centimeter, that might be more appropriate for this project because we're going to be making dice.